BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing, and we're into the home stretch for NBA and NHL playoffs. And there's more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NHL, and UFC. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino. All the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino action. So BetOnline, the game starts here. Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Connor.
No. I wanted to ask you a question. So this week, twice, and maybe Joe, or Eric, Hulk was in the news again. What was one of them for?
Oh, he put over Shelton Benjamin on a podcast, and Shelton kind of responded like, "Don't mention me." He took offense to it.
No, he didn't just say, "Don't mention me." Say
Keep
my name or
name out of your mouth. The Will Smith thing. Yeah.
What was the other thing?
It was MVP. MVP did something similar. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel, and I know he's your friend, so sometimes it's hard to be fair when we're talking about our friend or our family. That's just the way it is. Do you feel that, because this is what I feel, that the reason that he gave didn't seem genuine? Americans are taking it like that. And I can go ahead.
No, was that a question? I'm sorry.
Yes, that was a question. Yeah. You want me to make it smaller and repeat it?
Yeah, please. Okay. I was following you, but
okay. So basically, Hulk was in the news because I guess MVP and Shelton Benjamin, which he mispronounced his name, so that's
I read Shelton's response, so I'm familiar with that.
Right. Do you feel
I'm
that?
Up to speed on that.
All right. So do you feel, because MVP feels the same way, made a similar statement, that the African Americans, when he gave his reasoning in the dressing room, kind of thought it was disingenuous, like he didn't really mean what he said?
Well, I think based on the response from Shelton Benjamin, I didn't see MVPs, but clearly in their case, that would be true. I don't know how they feel. I don't want to try to characterize how they feel, but clearly they're not satisfied and they reacted accordingly. I understand it. It's hard. It's not hard for me to address this, Conan, because he's my friend. What's hard is because I know it doesn't really matter what I say.
Right. People have made up their minds. Yeah.
People have made up their minds. And there's nothing I'm going to say or anybody else is going to say that's going to change that. My issue, and the reason I'm proud to be Hulk Hogan's friend, and I know him. I've known him for almost 30 years. I've been with him in every conceivable situation, public, private, well, not every conceivable, but you know what I mean? I've been socially, publicly, non-wrestling related, wrestling related, business related. There's just not a situation where I haven't been really close and watched him. And when I say watch him, just be aware of how he treats people. And I've seen him go out of his way to make people who might otherwise be surprised that, if it's a minority, especially if you can tell for whatever reason the environment you're in or the fundraiser you're participating in, if it's for underprivileged kids, especially of any persuasion or race, I've seen him. I've seen how far he goes. I've seen how far he goes and is willing to go at a dinner meeting where every 10 minutes, somebody comes up and says, "Excuse me, we are in the middle of a business meeting. You're talking important stuff, right?" But every 10 minutes, someone comes up and says, "Excuse me, can I get an autograph?" Here's my favorite one. Hulk, excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but
Right, hate to.
You are. And
but I will interrupt anyways.
I know how I will react. I want to react. I wouldn't do it publicly, but in my mind, if you could hear my thoughts, it's pretty bad. But I've watched how he reacts when there's no cameras, there's no reason, there's nothing in it for him. He just is. I know who he is.
Would this be a way to describe it? Because of who he is and what he's done in the past, that in this there's 2 billion users on X. There is just going to be at all times an army of trolls and haters that at the mention of his name will make the voices known. And I think what is kind of weird because the one thing I respected about Hulk back at WCW, I was like, dude, like this guy's a very loyal friend. Like
He's
like you know
he's
like
loyal
like
to a. I'll
to
tell
a
you what.
fault.
One of his
Yeah,
big flaws are he's loyal to a fault. He's
right.
been burned by some of the people absolutely the closest to him. And I'm talking about even, it's got nothing to do with me or even WCW, but I'm pretty well aware of how vulnerable he has been throughout his life because he's loyal to a fault. And we could all of us retire 4 times over in the money that's been, appropriate.
Well, look at how loyal he was. He brought Jimmy Hart everywhere. He brought the Nasty Boys everywhere. He brought Brutus the Barber everywhere.
That I'll never forgive him for. The rest of it I can deal with.
Brutus.
Right.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Come on, officer.
Right.
That guy's
There's only so much a man can take.
But that guy's
Right.
quite a character. So, okay, let me just say this off of that. I believe everything you said because you wouldn't go to business with somebody that wasn't commendable and you could trust. And I'm sure you've been in every array of circumstances with him. But at the end of the day, what people are talking about is something he said. And at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for that. So he sounded kind of racist. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people are hearing. They're going, wow, so is this how you really feel? And it was a dumb thing to say there. And we all talk differently in private than we do in public. But it's out there for people to see. And,
listen, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, it's out there for people to see. And guess what? There's nothing you were say. There's nothing Hulk's going to say.
Right.
There is nothing he can say right now that is going to change the mind of the people that feel the need to stand up and say no.
Right.
If they see enough of the Hulk that and you could even put little pieces on your show, I guess, and he can change a narrative by just people going, hey man, everybody.
Just one more thing though. And by the way, we couldn't even do that because the minute we tried to do that, we'd be accused of trying to, create an image. So
right. Yeah. The mob will come out. Right.
It's going to happen.
True.
It's going to happen naturally. It's because it is who he is. And, I hope, time and people seeing what he's doing as opposed to what he said one night when he was hammered.
Right.
He was chasing fistfuls of quarts of vodka because he was in so much pain. And by the way, it was all prescribed. If you saw Conan, saw what he was prescribed during that period of time and the quantities of it that he was prescribed.
Bro, I couldn't believe all those old school wrestlers, how many they could take, and even the new school, like Nash and Hall and that whole group, bro.
Let me finish my thought, Conan. Because you've seen it. You've been firsthand. You've been around guys that were self-medicated, either because they had the legitimate reason, like Hulk did. He could barely walk. Oh, and by the way, he was getting divorced. His son was in jail. His life was crumbling around him, and he couldn't stand, sit, sleep, or stay awake because he was in so much pain. So what do? You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
I've done it.
How many times have you seen your friends or you yourself? I know I have been in a frame of mind similar to that. Not as bad as he was.
Yeah, and
worse.
worse.
Some of our friends have
worse.
And say and do stupid.
Bro, here's the thing. When you're famous, Eric, you've got the people that will always ride with you, right? Your ride or dies. And then you got the people that are just looking to be outraged over anything. I call it over the top and fake outrage. And then the mob. Bro, I've been in that situation a million times. And the last one that I was in was, do you know this wrestler called Marty Scurll?
I've heard the name.
All right, so he's a British wrestler. But, bro, people are like, why do you use that guy? Why do you do this? Or same thing with ADR. Well, you've decided that this guy can never, ever work again because You're not even saying, hey, he should work in a year or 2 years, right? He's already been ostracized, you know. I mean, what more do you want? You know what I'm saying? And bro, they come after me on that. I really don't get it. In Mexico, they don't even care, Eric. The snowflakery is like really big here. And the fact that let's all mob on somebody we don't like.
You know
As
what I
if
think it
no-
is, Conan?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example.
Right.
That first video that I posted, that NWO throwback video of me
Right.
and Hulk when we were
Yeah.
teasing our third man. The last time I looked at it, which was like a week ago, I had about 12 million likes.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. No, sorry. Got that wrong. I had 2.6 million views.
Right.
Had about 12,000 likes, and I had 1,400 comments.
Right.
So 12,000, 1,400. The likes kind of speak for themselves. They liked it. Thumbs up. Yay.
Right.
The comments, I looked at probably 24 of them, and they ran pretty hot. There was a lot of negative comments in there. There'd be,
bro, they're really mean. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to cut you
let me
up.
finish, 'cause I'm
Okay,
going to get to my point in a
ahead.
second. So I read through a bunch of them. I'm going to say in real life, if I ever added it all up and figured it out, I would say 30 to 40% of them were positive. The other 60 to 70% were negative. Let's say all 1,400 comments were absolutely negative. And there's 12,000 likes. That's roughly 10% of the audience making 90% of the noise. And that's what the internet wrestling community is.
Yeah.
These,
100%.
you can call them snowflakes and all that. You can call them whatever you want to call them. What these are desperate, low thinking, low frequency people who probably don't have a lot going on in their lives. But if they can get their dopamine hit on their laptop or on their phone by reaching out and saying outrageous things that people like them, because, like attracts like, you get a big enough pool of low level, low thinking, low vibrational players, and you get internet wrestling community negativity, because that's where it comes from.
Bro,
But
that's
you gotta
very
remember,
well. That
10% of the audience.
yeah, that's I subscribe to that, and I've expounded on that before. But what you said makes a lot of sense, okay? And like, I'm a very polarizing figure, and I know that, right? So there's people that love me, there's people that just hate me, and I'm sure you have the same thing. I know Disco does. And at the end of the day, bro, I've never met anybody in person. I've done signings and been, and that ever to my face said any of these keyboard warriors put on there, and it just feels to me like you said, they have nothing going on, probably, because there's been people that come up to me in autograph signings, and I'm almost embarrassed to be a wrestler. I'm like, bro, take a shower maybe. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it, but it's again, I just see it. Look, these things here, we're all addicted to them to
Right.
one degree or another.
Right.
But I think there's a certain low vibrational group of people.
I agree.
The only place they can get there, because they're not going to get it socially.
Right.
They're kind of on the outside of things socially.
Right. Because here's my thing. Go ahead.
No,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
going to say,
Because if you're so busy on the computer, you're probably not going out anywhere.
Yeah.
Like in my day or in Disco's day, if they had phones, we were too busy. We were out partying.
Yeah.
That's just everybody's getting, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, I'm an expert on me. I'm absolutely, nobody on this planet knows me better than me. And I know I'm addicted to the thing. I have to discipline myself.
Well, because we have,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, Eric. Have you ever lost your phone?
Oh, panic
Bro, you
time.
feel like you're right. You're like, how do I get it? And so that's very important, because that's what we're connected to. And I'm fascinated to no end at the Neuralink thing by Musk, because I think that's the way we're going. Little by little, they're going to put little pieces in us. It'll probably like a headphone type thing, and your memory will get better. You'll be able to understand. They'll translate languages for you. I've read this. This isn't something I'm making up.
Wow.
Until little by little, I believe in 100 years, we'll be almost part human and
transhuman.
Transhuman.
Yeah, maybe.
That's pretty exciting. I wish that was around now. Like, I would volunteer to be a test monkey for whatever kind of he can implant in my brain that can make me play guitar like Jimi Hendrix. That would be awesome.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Awesome.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.